everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the NFL Seekers podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the NFL Combine winners and losers, risers and fallers. We're going to be doing a post-Combine NFL mock draft. We'll be talking about all the news surrounding the Combine, a lot of, leaks kind of leak around this time when all the GMs are at the Combine in Indy. It's going to be a fun one, a lot of just crazy times, a lot of crazy numbers put up by these insane athletes. Feels like every year we've just got new aliens coming in, breaking records. But excited to talk about this one. How are you, Josh?
Yeah, it was a good weekend of the underwear Olympics. Had a lot of fun. For us true football nerds, it's exciting, and this is where a lot of smoke, and this is kind of the start of it all. It's kind of the start of the new league year. It's kind of the start of all the smoke of the draft, and then you're gonna start seeing some guys who test out of the gym and start rising up into the first round, and sleepers who you thought were sleepers and were going to be third, fourth round picks now move up into the second round. So it's fun. It's also very heartbreaking when you start losing hope of some of your sleepers, who are going to rise super high because they just test out of the gym. But yeah, super fun. Super excited to talk about this mock draft Monday with the combine all wrapped up and ready to talk about it all.
Yeah, not to toot our own horns too much or anything, but I feel like this weekend was just full of our guys that we've been hyping up, like this whole process, just completely dominating like the weekend and blowing up with some crazy numbers. I feel like a lot of our guys that we've been mocking pretty high compared to consensus really lit up the combine, and now it's going to look like we aren't too high on them. So yeah, like you said, if you were high on like a value guy, a lot of them really helped their stocks. And speaking of helping their stocks, do you want to just get into the winners, losers? Who were some winners that stood out to you?
Yeah, I'll just go through a handful of guys who, kind of felt like they were going to test well and they exceeded expectations. But first one, and it was from day one, Braden Fisk, defensive tackle from Florida State, was outstanding at the Senior Bowl, man, shedding blocks. Just the build of him and how he came in was a clone of Aaron Donald. Ends up running a 4.78, broad jumping 9.9. Just you could just see the athleticism and the player he is. He's just checked every single box. A guy that was a third, fourth round pick, now going to be, I think, early day two, early second round, may even sneak into the back end of the first round. I don't think so, but high second round pick. Just an incredible athlete. And like I'm saying, man, dude, just I was talking to you about this via text, but just eerily similar athletic traits to Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I mean that just watching him move, he moves so smoothly and fluidly for a defensive tackle. It's kind of scary, honestly. He's such a big guy, but he moves like a tight end or something. It is very crazy, and his numbers are very reminiscent to Aaron Donald. So I like that comp. But who else do you have? He killed the weekend though. He started
Yeah.
the week off with a bang.
Another one, Jalen Wright, running back from Texas, running a 4.38, a broad jumping 11.8, almost 12 feet, or sorry, 11.2, excuse me, 1.55, 10-yard split. I mean, just another guy who's a home run hitter, running back. And in a running back class was not very stacked. I feel like he just really separated himself. He may be the first off the board now, but a dude that's 5'10, 210 pounds, running, sub 4.3, just incredible athlete, home run ability there. A guy who just really is going to jump up, in a running back class where anyone can take that, that RB1 spot. I think he might have solidified himself really high. Max Melton, cornerback from Rutgers, another guy that I thought, third, fourth round, you could steal him. He tested off the charts. He has that football bloodline in him. But yeah, Max Melton running a 4.39. Just an incredible athletic performance from him. I don't know if you want to speak on any of those two dudes.
Well, I mean, first of all, Jalen Wright from Tennessee, not Texas. Don't want anyone getting mad at us in the comments, but yeah,
Oh, did
Jalen
I
Wright.
say Texas?
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, so excuse me. Sorry, Tennessee.
No. But Isaac Guerendo, going back to running backs, Guerendo was someone I was high on, and he ran a 4.33, and he killed the combine. I think he's going to be a really fun piece for someone like Isaiah Pacheco type of impact. Yeah, Max Melton, incredible combine, helped his stock really just as much as anyone. Like he rose a few rounds this weekend, and some more corners like Nate Wiggins ran a 4.28, Quinyon ran a 4.33. The two fastest corners were like two of the top corners. So they really helps their own stock. They're kind of solidified top 15, top 20 picks now, even though Nate Wiggins looks skinny as hell. I will say that. But yeah, these corners are crazy. Even Lassiter from Georgia, he just moves so fluidly. I didn't know he was so like freakishly athletic. I thought Lassiter was impressive as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, these corners, dude, this corner and wide receiver classes were fast. I mean, a lot of sub four, 4.3s, 4.4s, guys who are absolutely moving. Another late round sleeper who me and you have loved, got to watch a lot of football games of him is Cole Bishop who ran a 4.45, sub 4.4. His relative athletic score ended up being like a 9.95, which is like one of the highest, since graded since like 1987. So another guy who's very impressive. Tyke Smith, Javon Buller, both ran 4.46, 4.47. Some sleeper safety corner kind of hybrid dudes. Sarah still. I mean, it's just crazy, man. There's too many guys to talk about. But I mean, just the athleticism coming from this draft class is wild.
And we can't talk about winners and losers of the combine without talking about these Texas receivers. AD Mitchell running a 4.34, and then you got the record breaker Xavier Worthy running a 4.21, the fastest ever 40-yard dash. So incredible stuff for these Texas receivers. You might see them here in this first round mock. So I guess we don't have to talk about them for too much. But anyone else you want to shout out? Chop Robinson and Dallas Turner as well. I think they really solidified their stock. We'll talk about them soon here, but all of them just very solidified.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dallas Turner, who we kind of expected would test incredible, but and then just to point out one position, Peyton Wilson, man, he may have just snuck himself. I don't. This is a pretty weak linebacker class. Peyton Wilson ran a 4.43. I think his medicals actually ended up being pretty decent too. Was he tested? And I'm hearing guys saying he could sneak into the back end of the first, but he's going to be probably a high day two pick.
Yeah, and I think that's about it. Troy Fatanu is someone that impressed me because I think he tested so well and moved so well that he really could be a tackle, but if not, he's going to be an all-pro guard. I'm confident about him. Another guy we'll talk about in this first round mock. So do you want to just get into this mock and talk about these guys some more?
Let's do it. Let's start it off.
We
Yeah,
need
so
we need you to get your app ready. Do you have your coin toss app ready?
I'm ready. Dan, again, I'll just say you are the visitor, heads or tails.
I'm gonna go with heads again.
All right, let's see it.
Come on, big money. This is for the first pick.
Dan is him. Heads it is, kid. Do you want the first overall or the second overall pick?
I'm going with the first overall pick. I'm going to pick for the Chicago Bears, and I guess we can just get right into it. I'll make this easy. Caleb Williams, had an interesting combine, asked some interesting questions by some interesting commentators or reporters. Let's just say that. But he stayed late at the combine, helping out, and he just I think he's a good guy. I think that everyone memes him for crying against Utah in that game where he was essentially eliminated from playoff contention last year, and I think that just shows that he does care about the game. He does have heart, and he plays really hard for his teammates, and he just wanted that team accolade. So I think Caleb Williams is just a really respectable guy. He's getting a little bit too much hate because of the prospect fatigue, and because maybe people are a little bit too high on Justin Fields, who I guess we'll talk about some combine reports here, some combine news that Justin Fields is actually getting underwhelming trade interest, and the Bears are prepared to accept like a third, fourth round pick for Justin Fields. Might not be a day two pick, so that is something interesting as well. But I do think the pick's Caleb Williams. It's going to be an incredible one. He's going to transcend this team, and you're excited for their pick at 9.
And yeah, 100% agree. And I think coming out of the combine, we were maybe expecting to hear some different smoke go around, but no, there's no smoke or anything. Caleb Williams is the consensus quarterback one. There's no 1A, 1B. It is Caleb Williams. He will go first. There is a little bit of smoke from maybe coming out of the Washington camp, but that they may even trade up to 1. I think that's the only thing is I don't think any team's going to be able to trade 1 and 2. I think the only team that could possibly move up is the Bears and the Commanders swap picks. And if the Commanders, want to bring Caleb Williams back home to DC, and they just offer the Bears some incredible trade compensation the Bears can't say no to. But, I don't know if the Bears will be bold enough to want to trade out of that pick and potentially miss out on a guy like Caleb Williams. So that's the only smoke that I'm hearing from those 1 and 2. But picking Caleb Williams there. Perfect pick. I'll move on to number two. Drake May, man. Just an incredible athlete, incredible dude, incredible size. And yeah, just gives me eerily similar vibes to Justin Herbert, who, if you guys know and you watch this, I am just the biggest Justin Herbert fan on the entire face of the earth. I think he's the most incredible quarterback. And Drake May just has that kind of, ethic, kind of, their mentality of just big arm, incredible plays, sneakily fast for his size. And so it's just an easy lock for pick number two. Whether you want to say the Commanders somehow can entice the Bears to get pick number one, you can lock in Drake May to Washington at number two. And I don't think there's any, I think the smoke died down with Jaden Daniels potentially being a commander at two. It's going to be Drake May if they can't move up to one.
Yeah, I think we're kind of at the point where you can lock this one in as well. I think Drake May has done a great job solidifying his stock. This pre-draft process at the combine, he looked the part. He interviews well. I just think teams are going to fall in love with him, and Cliff Kingsbury will definitely want to work with Drake May. He's a player that can definitely transcend a franchise, transcend a whole team, and you can build around him, and you can be optimistic about the future. So I don't think we need to talk about this one for too long. I do think it's one that you can chalk in after this combine rumors. And then going on to pick three with the Patriots, this is kind of where the draft starts. This is where it gets interesting. We have been locking in Marvin Harrison Jr., like the best receiver prospect of all time, to the Patriots, just because that situation is so rough. It's hard to just plug a quarterback right into it, but they do have a lot of money in free agency, so they can shore up a lot of the holes on their roster and make it a better situation for a quarterback. And I think a lot of the news that in Indy during the combine really kind of indicated that the Patriots still do want to go quarterback. They are still leaning quarterback. So that being said, I wouldn't rule out JJ McCarthy just to somehow go three. Jim Harbaugh planted the seed a few months ago saying that he could be like a second or third overall pick or the first quarterback taken. And I don't know. I think JJ McCarthy really is just rising up boards the more he talks to these, coaches and GMs. They're really falling in love with him. I will ultimately go with the Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels, third overall to the Patriots. I think Gerard Mayo would like to work with him and build around him, and I think that could be a good building block for the Patriots. It's going to be interesting to see what way they go, though. It's going to start the whole dominoes of the draft.
Yeah, and honestly, with this one, we're not going to be doing trades in this draft, but I could see the Patriots trading out of this one. Um, I just kind of want to lock in a quarterback at three. I think the Patriots ultimately, for their fan base, for their new ownership, um, they got to do something exciting. If they don't ultimately get a quarterback in free agency, it's going to be interesting. Free agency here in the next week or two will be very telling of what's going to happen. So I'm really excited to do mocks then. But this one, yeah, I feel like it has to be a quarterback. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I wouldn't mind him here if they go get a quarterback in free agency, but they got to find a quarterback. This new regime has got to bring in something exciting for the fans to get hyped about. You can't run it back with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. Gerard Mayo needs to go out and find his guy. And I think Jaden Daniels just fits that electric, exciting, polarizing type prospect that, would get Patriots fans excited.
And I like what you said. Just kind of locking in a quarterback at three is the move, just because I could totally see this pick being the Raiders. Trading the farm up for Jaden Daniels. A lot of the interviews I listened to of Antonio Pierce at the combine were him just talking about if you need a quarterback, you don't be shy about it. You go and get him. You grab it by the horns and you go and get that guy. So I could totally see Antonio Pierce making this selection at three, but I do ultimately think the draft starts with three quarterbacks. So with that, do you want to go make the easiest selection of the draft at four with the Cardinals?
Just lock him in. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, this is obviously what Cardinals fans, their GM, their ownership, everyone wants to see Marvin Harrison Jr. fall to four. And it is interesting because it is a conversation, up until draft day, whether, I mean, I really think the top three should be quarterback, 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 whether it's somebody that trades up. But yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, this is the home run pick. It's the no-brainer pick. It's the most polarizing, best wide receiver prospect we've ever seen coming out of college football, and it's just the easiest pick. It's just the no-brainer pick. If he's here, you lock it and you forget about it.
Yeah, you forget about it. Austin Fort is incredibly happy that he gets his guy, the guy that he wants more than anyone in this draft. Marvin Harrison could be just a league winner in fantasy as a rookie in this situation with Kyler. I do think it would be so electric. I think he could, gather like 120 targets and just be that focal point of an offense instantly as a rookie. It's a perfect pick, the fit of the draft. We don't really have to talk about this lock of a pick. We'll move it on to the Chargers at 5. I'm selecting for LA, and this is tough. You've got a lot of options. You've got Neighbors, Odunze, Bowers, or all move them over to that right side. And this is tough. Ultimately, I do think I've made a decision after the combine. I think the combine's moved me a little bit, and you and I are guilty of being higher on Rome Odunze than really anyone, and we've been high on him for a while. And I think the combine just really solidified it, and I'm just falling too in love with Rome. I think he's just a can't miss receiver prospect. He's like zero flaws, negatives to his game that you can knock him for. He really is just such a complete prospect, and running a great time. He looked explosive in all the drills and the gauntlet. He ran straighter than like it was like a glitch in the matrix how straight he ran that whole line. It was just he's a great prospect. He's a great mover, and I'm confident he's going to be a wide receiver one. So I do think that this is back into the realm of possibilities for the Chargers. That they just go with that outside, receiver one. Forget about it, and you can do whatever you want with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. What do you
Yeah, no, I absolutely love this. And yeah, going in, I sent you a text. I said, I mean, Rome, man, he ran a 4.45. That is incredible for a guy his size with his build. And yeah, on that gauntlet run, he was averaging between 18 to 20 miles per hour on every single catch as he was running that gauntlet drill, just perfectly straight. And yeah, I feel like Rome Odunze next to Marvin Harrison Jr. just might be the two guys that you just cannot be bust. I don't see any flaws in their game. I don't see anything on film or anything that scares you. The measurables are there, the testing's there. And I really like that Romo Dunze, and I think this really solidified him as the wide receiver too for me. Is that he went out there and he tested. I know, for certain guys, Caleb Williams and stuff, it's just there's no reason to. Malik Neighbors ultimately opted out. I don't think it hurts his draft stock at all, but I think it kind of helped Rome go out there and test, because if Malik Neighbors would have gone out there and ran a 4.39, a 4.4, there's a real conversation for wide receiver too. But I think Rome doing that ultimately just gives him the nudge above a guy like Malik Neighbors. And he's more of a true X receiver. I think he gets off the line a little bit cleaner. And yeah, there's just, if Daniel Jeremiah is calling this guy Larry Fitzgerald, how can he not be a top 5 pick?
And how do you like the fit with the Chargers? Do you think this is, realistic? Do you think this is a way that they ultimately will end up going here?
I mean, if they stick and pick at 5, I think ultimately the biggest thing for the Chargers and what Chargers fans and what Chargers analysts are calling for is to trade down, just because the team has so many holes. There's almost, you could argue, every single position, including backup quarterback, is a hole on this team. So you're not set in stone anywhere. So trading back and acquiring assets would probably be your best bet in this pick. But if you don't get a hole that you're looking for, you go get one of these blue chip wide receiver prospects who would be a wide receiver one in any draft class. And this substantially helps Justin Herbert in his development in a new offense with Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman. You go get an alpha wide receiver one that's on a cheap deal for the next 5 years, and he's set in stone, and you forget about it. And you move on from Mike Williams, you save the money, and you let Keenan Allen, you restructure him, you let him play for a couple of years, and Rome's, ultimately takes over as your wide receiver one.
Yeah, Rome and Herbert can really, really transcend the situation and speed things up for the Chargers to be really competitive in the AFC, similar to Burrow and Chase. Do you want to move on to the Giants pick at 6? And I have a feeling you might go with the other guy we just talked about.
Yeah, it's funny because I am almost certainly positive it's going to go quarterback, 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 wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, because that's the quarterback needy teams need quarterbacks. The top 3 picks, it's inevitable, and the next 3 best players in this draft happen to be wide receiver, which is wild. And all 3 of these teams could use a wide receiver. I think you might see teams like Chicago, teams like Atlanta, even Minnesota, who knows if they'll get a deal done with Justin Jefferson. He wants to be paid $30+ million a year. It might be financially smart for them to move off of him. It's just crazy to say, and come draft another blue chip guy, which is just ridiculous to say. I obviously think they will get a deal done with him, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities to get a guy on a rookie contract. But yeah, the Giants desperate for a wide receiver one. They really don't have that alpha guy. This Giants regime has got it. They paid Daniel Jones the bag. They got to get him help. They got to make him look somewhat decent so they don't lose their jobs.
Yeah, and I love this fit. I compare Neighbors to a young rookie Odell, that Giants Odell, and he really would just excite the fans and be a fan favorite instantly, be a just a fan favorite among the NFL. He'd be a star in fantasy and just really produce for the Giants. I think he's exactly what the Giants need. And yeah, just an incredible receiver prospect in his own right. Could be a receiver one in any draft, really any draft other than 2024. So another incredible receiver prospect. All three of them are going to be just insanely productive instantly as rookies. And with that, do you want to move on to pick 7 with the Titans?
Yeah, I just want to say one quick thing. About these teams and watchers. The Titans are a team. Brian Callahan at the podium said that, he'd probably prefer to go get a guy that scores touchdowns over an offensive tackle because he trusts, his dad, Bill Callahan, to develop, offensive linemen, which he's been one of the better guys for the last decade of doing that. So, I mean, you could almost lock in, teams 5 through 9 all wanting these wide receivers. And we may see a trade up for one of them, man. I mean, it's going to go wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver from pick 4 to 6. You cut up who you think might move up for it, but it's these wide receivers, man, are polarizing. They're insane.
That's a great point. Picks 4 through 6, just finesse picks 7 through 9. That's pretty crazy. I think picks 7 through 9 all would have gone receivers. So that is just incredible. These receivers are crazy. But that do you want to pick for the Titans after getting finessed?
Oh, it's your pick.
Ooh, my pick. All right. I am picking for the Titans, and this is hard. I really do think it could be Neighbors or Odunze. Like you said, Callahan stated that he would go receiver over offensive line in that debate, similar to what the Bengals did with, Jamar Chase versus Penny Sewell a few years ago. So I do think if Neighbors is here, I would select him currently not being here, it's kind of down to Bowers being that weapon versus, the number one offensive lineman in the class. Like you said, you can really trust Bill Callahan, who's, has an incredible track record at developing linemen. You can trust him to, develop these free agency signings, these mid-round guys. I am tempted to go Bowers here at 7. I haven't seen it. Bowers said he would like to play in Nashville. I think I'm gonna go with it. If you let it slide, I'm gonna go Brock Bowers at 7 over the top offensive lineman and trust that Bill Callahan, I think we draft linemen second, third, fourth, fifth round, but I do think Bowers could be really fun with Levis and someone that Brian Callahan could really want to work with.
I think you make Brian Callahan and Bill Callahan maybe even happiest with this pick. You get a tight end who's an inline blocker, but also you get an X, a Y, a Z type wide receiver. I mean, Brock Bowers almost plays out wide more than he is an inline tight end, but he's a willing blocker. He's a strong dude. The measurables might be a little bit smaller than the average tight end, but I mean, he goes out there and you pretty much compare Brock Bowers. I'd almost compare Brock Bowers more to the wide receivers in this draft class. You're comparing his value to the wide receivers in this draft class, and I put him at wide receiver. I put him at wide receiver 4, right behind Neighbors, in my honest opinion. And you go get a guy like that, a safety net, a blanket for Will Levis, a guy who knows how to get open, a guy that can come in and block and contribute in the run game. I think that's a home run pick. And it's one that people aren't talking about enough. And I mean, he flat out said it. He would like to play in Nashville. I'm sure he's going to go in there, ace the interview. That he wants to be there. I'm sure they'd love to have him there. I don't think Chigo Quanquo, prevents you from drafting a guy like Brock Bowers.
Yeah, you said that perfectly. He really does compare to these top receivers in the draft. He compares to Odunze and Neighbors, and that's just insane to say. You have to treat him like a receiver. The tight end positional value argument doesn't work with him because you saw it with Georgia. He carried them to national championships as the wide receiver one because he's just so dynamic and he can do so much for your offense. He can line up anywhere. Just be an electric receiver. So I like this one that you don't see often. You are finessing like the Titans and maybe even the Bears who could definitely think about going Brock Bowers, who's simply a top 5 player in the draft to me. And I think he does go top 10 no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. He's just too talented of an athlete. And I don't feel like we heard a lot of really exciting buzz from him, but the best tight end prospect ever by a wide margin coming out of college. You can't let this guy get out of the top 10. These GMs are smart enough to know what kind of player he is and what he brings to a team. So, yeah, I can't see Brock Bowers falling out of the top 10. But moving on to pick number 8, Atlanta. This is an exciting one. This could go in a realm of possibilities. I mean, this one you've got the best offensive lineman on the draft. I don't think they ultimately go that route. The word coming out of the combine is that Atlanta's really hungry to go get one of these free agent quarterbacks. I mean, Kirk Cousins is a real possibility. I don't know if Minnesota, with paying Justin Jefferson, is going to be able to give Kirk Cousins the type of deal he wants. I think ultimately Kirk Cousins wants a 3-year deal. I don't think the Vikings will feel comfortable with that. I almost feel like the Vikings are locked in to take a quarterback in this draft class. I mean, I'm sure they'd love to re-sign Kirk to a 1-2 year deal and then ultimately let a rookie come behind him. But I don't know. Atlanta is probably the most tempting spot for Kirk Cousins to land. And in this scenario, I'm going to say they get a Kirk Cousins or they get a Justin Fields. They get one of these quarterbacks in free agency. And I want to go my first defensive prospect who we just talked, who tested off the charts. And that's going to be for me, Dallas Turner. Getting the number one edge rusher here, a guy who played at a big SEC school. He checks every single box. He's an athletic freak. He jumped, ran out of the combine, and he really doesn't give you any worries. And you take him here at number 8, I think would be perfect. I mean, this is also a pick. It'd be in play for JJ McCarthy, but I think they ultimately go the veteran route. And I think they're ready to win now. And you go get yourself, the true edge rusher one, in my opinion, in this draft.
No, I fully agree with this pick. It's just such a Raheem Morris player taking that crazy athlete as an edge rusher. He completely killed the combine. Just so fast, moves so well. He really does move like Von Miller, and he's got all the pass rush moves, got all the upside in the world, and just feels like a perfect Falcon. And he will be the first defense player off the board. I'm pretty confident about that. Him or Arnold, either one from Alabama. Just too much upside to get out of the top 10. I think you just finesse the Bears as well, who, I think they really wanted to pair Caleb with Dallas. So I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, I think the Bears wanted one of these top receivers. And, don't be surprised come draft day, the Bears are a team to move up, back up into the top 5, honestly, for their pick of the wide receiver mill. I wouldn't be surprised if they jump up, up in front of um the Giants to get that wide receiver. I just feel like they're going to be a very aggressive team. Ryan Poles has tons of draft capital. They're going to get more draft capital from Justin Fields. It might not be as high as they want, but they're a team very flexible that can be aggressive and move up in this draft.
100%. With that, let's move on to pick 9 for the Bears. You have kind of put the Bears in a predicament here because Joe Alt is on the board somehow. I've never seen Joe Alt on the board here at 9, and I love Braxton Jones almost just too much. I feel like it's just too disrespectful to move off from Braxton Jones, even for the best offensive lineman in the class. It's a hard predicament because Joe Alt's just the perfect that Midwest guy. He just fits that Big Ten mentality over there in Chicago. It's hard to move off from Joe Alt. I think I'm gonna have to go defensively to pair with Eberflus. This is so hard, or not Eberflus, or yeah, sorry, Eberflus. I don't know what I'm thinking. This pick is just throwing me off because I don't know what to do. Would you take Joel and move off from Braxton Jones? I don't know, man.
I don't think they can. I actually like Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones. I think they've actually done a really good job at rebuilding their trenches. I think they're good. Honestly, if I was here at pick number 9, you got probably some teams wanting to come up here for a quarterback. We're obviously not trading. You got like the next like 4 teams behind that could all draft a quarterback. You have teams behind that all want the top offensive lineman. I think you got to go with your gut feeling here. You can take, best player available on your board, but in this scenario, I would expect the Bears to move up or move down.
I think I'm gonna do something bold. So I was about to lock in Byron Murphy just because I think the Bears really need a star interior defensive lineman, and I think Byron Murphy might be my favorite defensive player in the draft for me personally. But I think that Brian Thomas after the
Oh,
after the combine could really be rising up these guys' boards just because he's such a freak and you can see it. And he ran a crazy time for being 6'4". He ran like the fastest time relative to height since
4.33, the second fastest time of the combine for a guy who's 6'4", scored 17 touchdowns in the red zone. I haven't seen it, but I love it. I really love this pick. Oh my God, I love it.
yeah, I just saw this. I just thought of this on the spot, and I think it's almost too good to pass up, especially with him killing the combine. You pair him up with Caleb Williams, who has an incredible deep ball. He can be a suit up Brendan Rice for Caleb Williams, and I think that connection would just break the league. It'd be really exciting. They miss out on those top 3 receivers. They can't trade up for one, but they get the next guy, and he's right there. And he really did kill the combine. He said he ran that 4.33, and I think he had the best uh 40-yard dash time relative to height since like DK Metcalf and Calvin Johnson. Like he's in that type of territory. He's just a freak of nature, a former basketball player, and I think this would be a really fun pairing with Caleb. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I have no, again, we're doing this on the spot. I love it. I think there's a big tier drop off from Brian Thomas Jr. to the next wide receiver. He tested out of the gym. He's put up the elite production you want. The size is there. 10-6 broad, 4.33 40, 1.5 split for a guy that size, 38.5 vertical, in the nines in the relative athletic score. So, yeah, this is not crazy. This is not crazy. This is realistic. It hasn't been talked about. It hasn't been mocked. I don't think I've ever seen a mock with this here, but I mean, talk about a guy that fits DJ Moore and just complements him freaking perfectly in this offense. You pair Caleb Williams with DJ Moore and Brian Thomas Jr. and Cole Kmet. You've already beefed up that line. That's a fantastic spot to be in for the Bears and for a rookie quarterback to come into.
Yeah, it's super fun. And I really do think this is where Brian Thomas's options kind of start. I do think it's in the realm of possibilities. I think he can go from like 9 to 17. I think that's his range after the combine. And he's a freak that teams are going to want to bet on. And pairing him with Caleb is too good to pass up. But let's move on to the Jets at 10, and they get their choice at top offensive lineman if you want to go that route. That's crazy.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers might tear his other Achilles jumping up and down, running outside on this because he gets his pick of his top offensive lineman in the draft. I mean, this is crazy. In an offensive line class this stacked with, this good of talent, that you get your pick of the, of the mill here. And Joe Alt is staring you there at number 10. What incredible value, a can't miss type of offensive line prospect, very athletic, elite grades. Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers, from the excitement might have just tore his other Achilles.
I mean, that's just too beautiful of a fit. You get Aaron Rodgers as David Bakhtiari for the next, 10 years or just as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing. And it's a great pick. He's going to be your bookend left tackle where Mekhi Becton kind of, was a bust pick. So the Jets aren't going to miss on this one. I'm positive he's going to be an incredible bookend tackle. And that's just insane value at 10, getting the best offensive lineman. That's just beautiful, beautiful. What a fit.
Yeah, that's might have been the easiest pick of the draft outside of Caleb Williams. So
And
I'm,
Marvin
I'm
Harrison.
glad I had this and Marvin Harrison. But yeah, what a steal in an offensive tackle class where I mean Daniel Jeremiah, the Trevor Sikamas, the Lance Zermans and stuff we're talking about. This is crazy. This is an incredible offensive tackle class. It's deeper, heavier, better built than like the past like decades. So I mean, there's some really bookend offensive tackles, interior offensive line in this class, and to get your pick at number 10 is just phenomenal.
Phenomenal pick for the Jets. Let's move on to the Vikings at 11. And I think you're thinking, you're starting that JJ McCarthy discussion here. Even if you bring back Kirk Cousins, you could totally sit JJ behind him for a year. And I think that is really fun. I think, in this scenario, we think Kirk Cousins could go to the Falcons. If you lose him, then I don't know if you get JJ McCarthy. I think they would, go someone that could, start right now that they are confident in. But I don't know. Do you want to go JJ? And what are we doing with Kirk Cousins in this scenario? Is he going to be a Falcon or a Viking?
I think even if he is a Viking, I don't rule out taking a quarterback in the first round. I think that honestly might be the best thing to do to set up your team for success. And I think that's best case scenario for the Vikings. Even if Kirk Cousins is gone or stays with them, you got to draft a quarterback here. I feel like you're kind of, in that type of spot where you got to start preparing. I don't know if teams, from what we're hearing, is teams are not high on this next year's quarterback class. So if you want one, I think you got to get your guy. And so, I mean, I wouldn't hate it at all. I mean, if you think Kirk's going to sign a multi-year deal, maybe you head in a different direction. But I almost think, the Broncos and the Vikings almost have their hands tied to pick a quarterback in the first round.
I'm really tilting on this one. I am going back and forth. I'm just at the spot where I really do think it's going to be Kirk, and I think the Vikings have to go all in with Kirk at least one more year, and just at least with the first round pick. I do think you have to just go with whatever can really help the team right now. And I think last year with Kirk, they could have been contenders if he stayed healthy. They were playing good football before he got hurt. I am going to go with another big combine riser, someone that really solidified himself in this combine, who just looked like a freak at defensive tackle, Byron Murphy. I just love the fit with Brian Flores too much. I want to go Terrion Arnold here as well because I think that's really fun. But Byron Murphy just killed the combine, ran a 4.87 40, a 1.69 10-yard split. He just moves so well. As an interior rusher, I really do think he's like a Chris Jones type of mold. And I think as a Viking, it's just a great, impactful pick that can really help them win if they do bring back Kirk or whoever their quarterback is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. It's going to be really interesting just because the quarterback situation. But yeah, I mean, getting, the number one interior defensive lineman in this class, who again had an incredible combine. The numbers are there, the testing's there, a guy that you can really just feel good about, and is going to improve your defensive interior in the run and the pass game. But yeah, and I like you calling your shot right there. I think, he might be, the second highest player picked in on the defensive side in this draft, which is crazy. But moving off of that, moving on to the Broncos, no brainer pick here. You don't have a quarterback on your roster. JJ McCarthy is right there. I think a guy that would mesh really well with Sean Payton and his personality. Sean Payton's got a very strong personality. So does Jim Harbaugh. He just came from that system. You don't have to ask JJ McCarthy to do too much. I don't think in year one, he's very comfortable, in a system where I think Sean Payton would know how to make him thrive in. And you just don't have to ask him to do too much in a Sean Payton system. I think they're really going to emphasize the run game, the play action game, and just make it simple. And I think this would be damn near the perfect situation for JJ McCarthy to come into. And I think that would be the perfect situation that the Broncos want, because their hands are tied behind their back. They have to have a quarterback. Russell Wilson is not coming back. I don't think that's an option at that point. At this point, they're already too far gone. But yeah, easy no brainer pick for me here.
Yeah, I like what you said about him and Sean Payton just meshing. Their personalities will collide well together. Both grew up in Illinois. They really just seem similar. It feels like JJ, has the tools that Sean will want to mold, and he just feels like a quarterback that Sean can be confident in. That can, be that extension of Sean on the field and just be the point guard for Sean. I think JJ is the perfect Broncos quarterback. He has a lot to work on. He needs a lot of polish. That's his main thing. He needs time. He needs plays under his belt, and he needs to learn more. And I mean, that'll come with time. And I think with Sean Payton, that could be a special duo. And there are a lot of links, at the combine that Sean likes JJ and that JJ is gonna go like in the top 12, and just that the NFL likes him in general. So I'm pretty confident that 12 is like his floor at this point, and he's probably gonna go higher than that.
Yeah, we might see a team trade up into the top 10 for JJ, but yeah, I think it's a no-brainer pick. I think at the Broncos, this would be best case scenario for them. I think they want JJ McCarthy. I think it's pretty obvious. I think JJ McCarthy wants to be there. Just hearing his post interview with them, he seemed really ecstatic. He really liked the coaching room. He really liked the front office. And he apparently really loves Denver. He said that out loud. He said it a million times, but yeah, I think this would honestly probably be the best fit for JJ McCarthy, and it's not out of the realm of possibilities him falling to 12. I don't think his throwing at the combine was anything special. He didn't run, so I think this is honestly a very realistic place for him to be.
Yeah, it feels like the perfect middle ground because there's a lot of hype saying that he can go anywhere, but like from pick 3 to 6. But it seems like once the draft starts and teams are thinking about other players and things settle down, it seems like this is ultimately the range he'll end up. 11 or 12 is where I think he ends up. So fun talking about JJ. It's going to be interesting to see how he ends up. But do you want to move on to the division rival Raiders at 13? Wow.
You just fleeced the Raiders here, Dan. And yeah, I mean, this is the team that the Broncos need to be scared of. Trading up and finessing them. The Raiders have a little bit more draft capital to be more flexible on draft day and move up. Where the Broncos, don't have a second round pick this year, but this is the team the Broncos need to be scared of coming up and fleecing them. But in this scenario, the Broncos just fleeced the Raiders. But then again, the Raiders kind of have their pick of the mill. I mean, there's offensive tackles here that could definitely improve them. You get your number one corner here. This is a toss up, man. This is hard because oh man, and
This
at
is
this
tough.
point, yeah, this is a tough pick. I mean, Fashanu here. I think Fashanu. It's kind of between Fashanu and Terrion Arnold here. I think I kind of trust, the Raiders' development of defensive players and then bringing in Jack Jones. I feel like their defense is maybe a little bit more suited to wait on. to where their offense just needs they're desperate for help. They're desperate for help on offense. You pair Fashanu with a guy like Colton Miller, I feel like you have your bookend, offensive tackles there that you don't really have to worry about for a while. And so, yeah, I think the value for Fashanu is just too good right here. It's crazy we haven't had a corner come off the board, but it's just such an offensive heavy draft where the top players are just I feel like they're just a hair above the defensive players. And in this situation, I trust Antonio Pierce maybe to like a corner in the second, third round more than, I feel like it's harder to get a tackle later. So I feel like if you need a tackle, you go get a tackle where wide receivers, corners, you can find guys on day 2, day 3 that can make an impact. So I'm gonna go for Shanu here.
Yeah, and Olu's like the smoothest, most natural athlete of really any of these linemen. So I'm pretty confident that he can move to the right, and he's flexible enough to be comfortable as a right tackle. And I think him and Colton Miller is instantly one of the best tackle duos in the league. So you want to lock that in at 13?
Yes, sir. And then, I mean, in this scenario, I could see the Raiders trading up back into the draft for like a Michael Penix or a Bo Nix. I don't think they'll. I don't think there's a scenario. I mean, maybe there is, but I think it'd be flat out dumb to run it back with O'Connell and Garoppolo.
It's funny because where I currently am at right now is I believe the Raiders are going to trade up to 3, and so you just picked Olu at 13, and the Patriots picked Jaden Daniels at 3. I personally have this flopped, and I have the Raiders taking Jaden Daniels at 3, and in my mock I have Olu going at 13 to the Patriots. So that is kind of funny. That is another possibility. So I like us locking those players in right there. But with that, do you want to move on to 14?
Yeah, and I mean, just one last thing. Tom Telesco does not trade down, but he will trade up. So new Raiders GM Tom Telesco, I could see him taking a shot and moving up. I feel like he's ultimately a pretty hard guy to trade with, but they're desperate. And Antonio Pierce said it. If you want a quarterback, you be aggressive. You don't sit back and hang. And he's brutally honest. If you want one of these top guys, you got to go up and get him.
All right. With that, let's go into the pick 14 for the Saints.
Yes, sir. Is this wait? I just
Yeah,
picked.
don't even talk about it. You picked for me for the Raiders. I don't even want to talk
Oh,
about it. I realize, but you can just pick here and we'll move on. I don't even want to talk about it.
I don't know how that got all flip flopped. Wait. Oh yeah, I guess I did. My God.
I just realized
Maybe should we just collab on this pick?
that's
What?
fair because I'm a
Yeah.
little bit pissed off because I think I would have gone CB1 for the Raiders, so I am a little bit pissed. But I mean, you can't really argue Olu at 13. So for the Saints, we'll collab this pick and we'll talk it through either Fuaga. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's either Fuaga or a corner or edge. There's rumors that Marshawn Lattimore could be a trade candidate, so maybe we lock in CB1 here to kind of go with those combine rumors. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I definitely like the look of CB1, especially with the Lattimore trade. And I mean, they need to get money off their books, and that would be another good one. You get Marshawn Lattimore off the books. And I don't know, you could go a handful of corners, man. I mean, I'm hearing from different people's. I mean, we can base it off of our corner one, who I think we both have, Terrion Arnold, but Nate Wiggins just ran out of the gym, man. Would it be in a 4.27? Just crazy speed. Quinion Mitchell, I just don't know if there's any flaws. Quinion, by the end of this, damn near by me, my corner one. I absolutely love him, but I'm gonna ultimately let you take the pick here. But yeah, I like the idea of corner.
All right, yeah, let's say that. I mean, even if Marshawn Lattimore doesn't get traded, pairing Material and Arnold, who I was really impressed with, even in the combine, he didn't run the craziest 40, but I just thought he moved really well in the impactful drills in the gauntlet. He looked crazy. He's just a crazy fluid mover. His hips are crazy smooth and fluid. So I love Terrion Arnold still. I do think he ends up going as CB1, and I think he could be that predecessor for Marshawn Lattimore and just be a dominant corner. I think he's gonna go early.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do here. And so let's get back on track. This will be your Colts pick. You have the floor, Dan.
All right, I've got the Colts pick here, and I love going corner for the Colts, and that I'm not going to go away from that with this current board. I think I got to choose between two guys that killed the combine, Nate Wiggins or Quinion Mitchell. Nate's just a speedy freak. I was a little bit scared off of his skinniness. He looked like a complete twig, though. It looked like he was going to get lost running so fast in that 40. But I'm going to go with Quinion. We locked this in every single mock we've ever done for like months now, and this is just beautiful. We're like higher on Quinion than really anyone, and it's aged like fine wine. He is just killing the competition. Anyone that lines up across from him, competition, anything that comes up, he just succeeds and does his thing. I'm very confident he succeeds and translates into the NFL, and he's a dominant CB1. So I think with the Colts opposite of Juju Brents, it's really fun.
Yeah, I just do not see flaws in Quinion Mitchell's game. I feel like he has gone to every single event and aced it. I mean, I think, come this corner episode, I'm going back and forth on my corner ones, but Quinion Mitchell, man, I do not see flaws in his game. I just everything. I mean, I think the only thing is maybe the run defense, which he's really not that bad at. But his force missed tackle rate is not as elite as a Terrion Arnold. But man, dude, just the coverage with this guy and just what he was able to do at the Combine and the Senior Bowl and his tape at Toledo. There's not much he doesn't do right. And so I mean, this is a hell of a pick for Chris Ballard and a real cornerstone, for your defense.
Yeah, and it's a fit we just really like. It's a perfect Gus Bradley zone defender, and just lock him in. I really like the fit. So with that, do you want to move on to the Seahawks at 16?
Yeah, dude, there's some damn good players on the board. I mean, if the Seahawks weren't good at tackle, I mean, Talisi Fuaga here would be a very, very good pick. I think they've done a good job at building their tackle room. I think the interior is obviously where they lack a little bit in. But I mean, you can't rule out edge here either, and you can't even rule out another corner. I mean, they could have the most insane corner room, and in the draft with with three elite dudes. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning edge or interior offensive line, and I think I'm just gonna do what we always do because it's just I feel like this is kind of is the start of where he should go and where he ultimately probably will go, a Northwest guy. Um, Jackson Powers Johnson. I love the fit. I think you put him into the new Raiders regime with Mike McDonald, just a nitty gritty mean team, getting back to those Seattle roots. And I think, he's the best interior offensive lineman in this draft. I think he fills a position of need for you immediately and he upgrades your run and pass blocking game. And I think there is a drop off after Jackson Powers Johnson for the next center. And I think it's decently big drop off. So, you can't go wrong with Jackson Powers Johnson here. You just make your offensive line even more mean. You help Gino for a year or two more, and you try and go run it for a championship, man.
Yeah, another pick we keep locking in. It's too perfect of a fit, and you just lock him in on that offensive line. He's gonna be a dominant center. You know how much I love him. He's my favorite center prospect in a long, long time. I'm confident he's gonna be a Pro Bowler for whatever team he inserts into for a long time. So love that pick. Don't need to talk about that for too long. Do you want to move on to the Jaguars at 17 here? And this one's gonna be me, right? I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, this is you. Yep, yep. This is your pick. But man, there's some good guys still on the board. This is a deep draft class. The talent in this class, I'm gonna say I think we're in one of the better draft classes, in the last decade. I think the talent is just incredible in this one. I mean, you still got Latham, Burst, Fuaga, Wiggins, Latu. I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, this is a deep draft class, and for teams who are needy teams that want to trade back, I keep saying I'm a big Chargers fan. I would love if the Chargers traded back into the mid to late teens and got a guy like JC Latham, and acquired a bunch of assets. And it's an incredible draft. I get so giddy. I'm so excited talking about it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, teams like the Jaguars, there's so many different directions you could go. Brian Thomas here is a beautiful fit, would be so fun. He's unfortunately gone, and I'm gonna go with another combine riser, someone who just killed the combine. I'm gonna go I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna go Chop Robinson. I'm gonna say that you missed on Trayvon Walker. I mean, he hasn't done anything. And you go with the guy that just ran a 4.48, killed the combine, incredible athlete. You don't, the future's up in the air with Josh Allen. I am gonna go Chop Robinson just to highlight the rise of I loved his tape too, like 290 PFF grades in a row for 2 seasons in a row, and he just looks really good. He moves so fluidly. He looks like Von Miller the way he moves, and I was just confused at why his stock was so low before the combine, and then he just kills the combine too. So I'm locking him in the top 20. I don't want to let him fall.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, a guy who we're really, really high on, and then maybe it was a little bit of prospect fatigue, but ultimately comes full circle, ultimately comes full circle and he's back, high. He just tested out of the gym, one of those guys, and I saw it's funny they're comparing a video of him running next to Nick Bosa and Will Anderson, and he just dusted him. But a kind of an off the ball linebacker, edge rusher type in Chop Robinson, a guy who, if you can really clean up and add, some really good pass rushing moves, a guy just has the ceiling, man, the size, the athleticism. He was an elite, RAS guy. He was in the top percentile in the nines. And it's just, I love you calling your shot here. I think a team will fall in love with his athleticism and his pass rush. I mean, he's just a strong bull rusher at the point of attack, but I love it. I love you calling your shot here with a guy like Chop.
Yeah, definitely bold having him as a second edge rusher off the board, but similar to Dallas Turner killing the combine and going high, I think he's going to be pushed up boards because of that potential and athleticism. And someone's going to want to work with that, all those tools. And with that, do you want to move on to pick 18 for the Bengals?
Yeah, another dream scenario for a
Yeah,
team. I mean, you get your pick of right tackle. You franchise T. Higgins. You're going to move off of Jonah Williams. You got J.C. Latham and Talisi Fuaga. It's kind of pick your poison, man. I mean, these guys both play very similar. Um, I think I might go to, you know, I think I want to go Latham here though. A guy who played a little bit better talent in the SEC, just a real big mauler. I think when teams see him and get in the room with him, I think he might just impress them a little bit more. And this is kind of a thing in the last week who's just really been rising up my board. But yeah, JC Latham, man, just I think he's just going to be an elite right tackle. I think the competition he's played at and his tape is good and elite. And I'm gonna call my shot here. I think JC Latham. I think teams might fall. And then this is coming from just barely doing the offensive tackle. I've been rewatching JC Latham, and the more I watch him, the more I like him. And I feel like he just adds an immediate upgrade to your right side, and pairing him on the other side of Orlando Brown. You just got two monsters to protect Joe Burrow, and just dominant on either side of the ball for running it. So I'm going to call my shot. I really, really like JC Latham here. A guy who's moving up my board drastically the more I watch him.
yeah, I'll be honest. I would definitely take Fuaga here. I would lock in Fuaga to the Bengals, but JC Latham does feel like a Bengals pick as well, just because he is very ready. He is a safe prospect, and you can be confident that he's been battle tested in the SEC. You can plug him in on that right side. I have Fuaga higher than him, but I do like the pick.
Yeah, and I think right now I still have Fuaga a little higher, but I just feel like the fit for the Bengals just is almost damn near perfect with Latham, and just having two towering prospects on each side to protect Joe Burrow is very intriguing. But yeah, I mean, when we might, come April be doing redo. I know I had Fuaga at number two, but I don't know. JC Latham is quickly moving up my board.
Moving on to the Rams here at 19. They're a little bit shook that Fuaga is still here. I don't think they were prepared to be drafting at 19 with Talisi Fuaga still on the board. And I think that they're so like thrown off and shook, and they fell in love with this guy right here, Nate Wiggins, after running that 40 and just, looking like a supersonic superhero running that 40. I do just want to lock in Nate Wiggins to the Rams. I think they need that CB1, that Jalen Ramsey type potential corner. And I think Nate Wiggins can be a CB1, get him healthy after hurting that quad or groin after running that 40. But once he's healthy, I am pretty confident he can be that CB1 for the Rams. Really just a perfect fit. He can play zone, play man, and I just really like the fit.
Yeah, love the fit. Not gonna argue about it. You've been lacking that, Jalen Ramsey, real alpha type corner one. But I want to move quickly on to the Steelers, who can't wait to run their card up to the podium, man, because it is too easy. Talisi Fuaga falls to the freaking Steelers, just a perfect fit, a mean nitty gritty. This team is going to be running behind Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. And you got Broderick Jones, who was one of our favorite offensive tackle prospects last year. You put Talisi Fuaga on the other side, you might have the two most dominant run tackles in all the NFL. And that fits a big need for a team that, is struggling at quarterback. I think it fits an Arthur Smith type offense. And yeah, I think that's a home run pick, and the Steelers can't believe it. And they're already up at the podium, man. It was a the clock struck 9 minutes and 58 seconds to pick, and they're already locked in.
I mean, what a freaking fit. If you get Fuaga to be your plug and play right tackle, he's just such a Steelers feel, that asshole bully mentality. He's gonna finish his defenders into the ground and just bully you in the run game. And you run Najee and Jalen Warren behind Fuaga, opposite of Broderick Jones, who's another freak of nature, a huge monster. I love that. Maulers in the run game. I absolutely love that. You have a new identity, and I think the Steelers have a new dream scenario that no one's really had. I haven't seen this, but I mean, I love it if it could happen.
It's too exciting, man. And I think this is really where the run on offensive tackles is really, really going to start. You got your top end dudes at the front, and then from pick 20 on, it's gonna be a run. These teams are going to be fighting for these guys. There might be some trade up, trade down scenarios here, but this is really where it gets interesting.
And then let's move on to the Dolphins at 21. I'm gonna do one of my favorite fits of the draft, and it's just Troy Fautanu to the Dolphins. You plug him in at left guard, where I think he's the best guard in this class outside of like Jackson Powers Johnson if he moved to guard, or maybe like Fuaga if he was to move to guard. But I think Fautanu could be the best guard in this class. And then if Teron Armstead leaves, you can move him to left tackle, because I'm confident he could be a good left tackle. He played really good there for 3 years at Washington. He's a great mover. He's just such a fluid, good athlete at that tackle position. I'm confident he could play anywhere on the offensive line and just be good. So I think he's a perfect Dolphin, where you can just put him anywhere and he's going to start for you and be an impact day one. I love the fit too much.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer fit, just something that solves so many problems. And a guy with such position flexibility, it's just damn near perfect and beautiful. And the Dolphins are going to be I mean, they kind of scare me this year. I mean, they scare me this year. And I mean, I feel like they almost just need to collect a lot more capital. It looks like Christian Wilkins will probably exit in free agency. So there's a lot of different needs, but keeping Tua, who's already injury prone, concussion prone, upright for as long as you can is probably your biggest priorities, and giving him time to throw and let Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle get downfield. So it's a no-brainer pick. Could go in an offensive line for these guys. And then moving on to the Eagles, I think this is another no-brainer pick. A guy who I'm very, very high on, a guy who didn't test, who might get forgotten about a little bit, but Cooper DeJean, a guy who is very position versatile. A guy who can play in the slot, who can play out wide, who can shift to safety, kind of do it all. And that's exactly what the Eagles need, is a guy who can literally do it all. They need so much help in their secondary, and Cooper DeJean gives them probably more flexibility in the secondary than anyone else in this entire draft.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. If the Eagles just have to take a corner, best corner available, best secondary position available, and you plug in Cooper DeJean, who you might benefit from him not being in the combine, and he was going to test freakishly. He's a crazy good athlete, and he's going to put up good numbers in the pro day that people might be skeptical of because of the pro day. I cannot talk right now, but yeah, you just have to lock in the best corner available to the Eagles, and that's their need. It's the need for them, and it's kind of their downfall last year. So you got to upgrade there. I love the pick.
Yeah, Dan having a little bit of a stores type stroke
I'm still
on.
trying to. How do you even say it? Skeptical. That's how you
Yeah,
say it. There we go.
skeptical. That's a stores type stroke mid podcast. You love to see it. I'm glad I'm not alone here. I was feeling a little bad. I'm always fumbling a little bit, but
I forgot how to say
Dan's
words.
human too. Dan's human too. So
I forgot how to say words, but with that, should I move on to the Texans at 23?
yeah, dude, this could be. God, there's just so many good players still on the board here, man. This is so hard. This is so hard.
I hate this. I
I might call
absolutely.
my shot on this one because this dude just tested out of his mind. But Adonai Mitchell, man, all day Mitchell here. A guy who just ran the third fastest 40, a guy who I think teams will honestly want to trade up for. A Texas guy who the Houston Texans are going to be very familiar with. A lot of in-state scouts scouting this guy. The vertical was off the charts. There's a 40-inch vertical he had. The running was incredible. A guy with elite production, even with a very sloppy quarterback in Quinn Ewers. So the more I watch Adonai Mitchell, the more I respected him. I thought there was maybe a little bit of lack of effort, but what he was able to do and accomplish with Quinn Ewers at quarterback is just nothing far fetched of amazing. And, a guy who Mike Renner tweeted out, welcome to every first round mock draft Adonai Mitchell. What he just did at the combine, which maybe got a little bit, overshadowed by his teammate, who just broke the record. But Adonai Mitchell, no slouch, 4.34, 43rd fastest time for receivers at the combine. And that kind of blew me out of the water, man. That really did. The type of receiver he was, I really didn't know he was that fast. And what he just showed at the combine, I mean, maybe one of the biggest winners. A guy who is, borderline first, early day two. I think he's a top 20 pick now. I mean, sorry, a 20 through 32 pick lock.
Yeah, he's like the one player of the combine where I mean, like usually I'm pretty good at like, expecting what numbers people are going to put up and like the numbers usually check out, but AD is the one player that those numbers just completely exceeded my expectations. I moved him over Troy Franklin immediately up my board just because of how he looked and how, his route running looks. He had that crazy vertical and broad jump just because he's got that explosion. He's just such a good jump ball receiver. And another thing is it's funny that you think this is your pick because this is definitely my pick. And
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm
no,
getting
no, but it's hilarious because I was looking at the options. My favorite picks for the Texans are like Byron Murphy, Nate Wiggins, and Brian Thomas, who are all off the board. And I was literally thinking A.D. Mitchell before you said it, and you said it. That's why I gave that reaction because I was about to pick him, and then I
There's
just let
just
you
no
go
way.
on. Yeah, I
How
said
how are we how are we screwing up this bad? How am I even letting this dude? We just it's we're getting locked in. It's like Ultra Jedi mind forces. I did just take Cooper DeJean. What am I thinking? I'm sorry, Dan, but if you like the pick, you're welcome to change the pick. I wanted to call this one out anyways. It was fun, it was exciting. But yeah, you're welcome to change the pick. I am sorry. I can't believe I am, I'm like laser Jedi focused on just players and not even thinking about when I pick.
no, I literally was about to lock this in before you even took it, but just because I mean he's a big riser of the combine. You instantly have like the best receiver trio in the NFL with Tank Dell and Nico Collins, and it's just so fun to see Jay Stroud. You keep him in state. It's a really fun one. I don't think Texans fans could be mad at this with how well he looked in the combine. He really does give the AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb feel just the way he is as a receiver.
Just imagine a receiving core of Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Adadine Mitchell. Oof. Oof. That is just enough to get you so excited. I mean, oh my God, bro. That is just damn near. That's the best receiving trio. I think I'd lock that in as probably the most underrated, best receiving trio in the NFL. If they do this. And like again, 6'2, 205 pounds. The RAS was 9.98, which is almost a perfect score. 39.5 vertical jump, 11.4 broad jump, 4.3, 440. It's just he tested off the charts, man, and the production was there, even with an Xavier Worthy who he had to compete, targets with pretty damn near, piss poor quarterback play. But yeah, like Mike Renner tweeted out immediately after AD Mitchell ran his 40, welcome to every first round mock draft AD Mitchell. And, what he just did is not going to go unnoticed and just might have been one of the guys who just made the most money from the combine.
Yeah, and we might have just found our new favorite fit of the mock draft process. But with that, do you want to go into your pick with the Cowboys at
I,
24?
I think I think I gotta let you. All right, we gotta make up. We gotta we
No,
gotta we
I
gotta
literally I was gonna pick 80. Like we can go through this one together if you want, but I was literally gonna go 80. I'm not kidding.
Well, Tyrone Smith is gone. I think the Cowboys just pretty much confirmed that. We got some damn good offensive line prospects, but there's one particular freak who's just the monster of the draft. Amarius Mims, built different from Georgia, and offensive line guru and Duke Manyweather said this is the best athlete from an offensive tackle prospect that he's ever trained. And I don't think the Cowboys take that lightly. You move off a guy like Tyrone Smith. I think, with what little tape Amarius Mims has, it was fantastic. The traits are there, everything's there. The Cowboys would be the perfect fit for him. What do you think?
Yeah, so he's 6'8" and 340 pounds, and he ran a 5.07 40-yard dash. He is just a freak. He's like the freakiest offensive lineman in this class. He has zero experience. He needs polish and time, but that is a Cowboys offensive lineman. We just named every Cowboys offensive lineman that's ever worked. And he could fill in for Tyron Smith perfectly, and he's just a great prospect. I think he could fill in for Terrence Steele as a right tackle instantly and be an upgrade. So I love that pick. It's one of my favorite fits of the draft, and the potential's through the roof.
Yeah, I like the idea of even moving Tyler Smith to left tackle, Marius Mims, you kick him to the right. I just I think that's just what are the Cowboys known for? You have incredible linemen. You keep adding to it, you keep trying to run it back with the Cowboys and you build up front in the trenches, and that's what they've been best at, and they're the best team in the NFL, I should say, at developing offensive linemen. So, well, what a better fit? Nothing.
Yeah, they keep doing so. So love that one. And with that, we'll go on to the Packers here at
Your pick.
25.
Your pick.
And this is my pick. I'm not going to mess this one up. And I'm just thinking secondary here, and I'm definitely going to go best secondary player available. I think Cooper DeJean's a really fun fit if he was here. I would love just the fit in Green Bay, but ultimately, I am, Kool-Aid McKinstry does also feel like a great Packer.
Did he
Um,
run? Did he run?
Kool-Aid, let's see if Kool-Aid ran
I
real
don't
quick.
think he actually tested. Trying to think. Yeah, no,
Not that I
Kool-Aid didn't.
know of.
I don't think he did anything actually at the combine, which is interesting.
Yep, Kool-Aid did not run. So yeah, I wish he did run. I would like to have that info on him, but I do like the fit. This is tough.
I know you can call your shot again with safety prospect number one, I think, on our board. Even Enos Rickshaw and Tyler Nubin, some exciting guys, honestly, in this position.
Yeah, this is actually really hard. I will go with Tyler Nubin. I'm gonna call my shot again with, it's just a fit that I like. I am seeing it more in mock drafts after I did it a few mock drafts ago, and I just think Tyler Nubin's just such a good prospect, such a good athlete. He's so fluid. He can fill in for Darnell Savage at free safety and just be an electric one for the Packers. I really like the fit.
Yeah, I think that is a fantastic fit. I think there's quite a big drop off after Tyler Nubin. And we're talking like 20, 30 spots in the position ranking. I think he's the clear cut safety number one. And yeah, I mean, Darnell Savage gonna be gone. They need secondary help. That is their weakest need. And this is a safe spot for a safety number one to go here.
And you're finessing the Buccaneers if they lose Antoine Winfield, just one pick before them. So with that, who are the Buccaneers going to take at 26?
I could go a different. I mean, Latu is still on the board. Jared Verse is still on the board. Kool-Aid McKinstry is still on the board. But I want you to kind of talk through this one with me because there's one player who we just talked about who had an incredible combine, with a little bit of injury scare. But I don't know. Talk me through Peyton Wilson on this one. Just what do you think of that?
Interesting. I have not thought
I
about that.
don't know if that's way too high, but a guy who just blew up the combine, who I think is him and Junior Colson are the, 1A, 1B. I think Peyton Wilson just really solidified himself as the best linebacker. A guy who's ultra productive. I think it's just the injury scares. He won the Belinda Koffel. What was the two linebacker awards? He was the only player to ever win the two awards. They're two different ones. But just incredible athlete. I don't know if I'm going to take him here. I don't hate the fit. I kind of want to throw it out there though.
I love Peyton Wilson. He is my LB1. I love the fit in Tampa. You do have Devin White and Levante David as free agents. They were saying Devin
Mhm.
White could be franchise tagged. I think the only thing holding me off on it, like I love the fit, is just that Verse and Latu are both available. That's the only thing holding me off after cutting Shaq Barrett. But I mean, either way, I like both bigs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that. I'm gonna go Latu. I'm gonna go Latu. The fact that Latu's here at 26, I think he just tested above what everyone thought he was gonna do. I thought he actually ran really well. I wasn't pegging, Latu to be a very good polarizing athlete, but just a guy with the refinement of his pass rushing techniques and everything. I think he's got the best set of pass rushing moves in the entire draft class. And I think he tests a lot better than what I expected him to test. And I think, at this range, it's just too good a value. The production there at USC, back-to-back years of multiple sacks, kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Tuli Pelotu in the sense of just his, productiveness in college. And, you know, yeah, it's too good a value. Shaquille Barrett is gone. You cut him, you go out and you replace him with a guy like Latu, which I really love.
Yeah, it feels like Latu is one of the winners of the combine as well. Just, he really tested well for being a guy that didn't really have expectations to test well. He didn't really have that high athlete tag on him. It was more just he has all the tools and the pass rush tools and the belt. But he really did test well. He ran a good time. He had like a 9.6-ish RAS score, which is incredible for him and his size. It's really just the explosion that is somewhat lacking, but he gets off the ball really fast. I love Latu. I kind of hate having him this low. I wanted to highlight Chop Robinson as crazy combine, but I think Latu is going to be such a good pro and in day one just be a great fill in for Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, 100%. It's great fit, exciting. Just one of the cleaner pass rushers, in this draft, and a guy who, might just not blow you away with the athleticism, and that's ultimately why I think a guy like Dallas Turner and, Chop Robinson could be above him, but a guy who just did not lack in production.
And then moving on to the Cardinals at 27, I'm definitely gonna go defense for Jonathan Gannon. And there's two guys at the top here, really three that I think would be really good fits: Jared Verse, Johnny Newton, and Kool-Aid McKinstry. I like all three of them for the Cardinals. Honestly, I like all three of their fits for Gannon. Oh, I think I just like the fit of Johnny Newton in that interior too much with Gannon, and I think he could be like I think he is just being someone that's being too slept on, and there might be some prospect fatigue with him too. I just think he's too good. You could say the same about Jared Verse, but I think as an interior rusher, there's really a big drop off after Johnny right here. So I think this is a great pick and fit for the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. The Cardinals desperately, desperately need to get better on defense. And again, you start up front, a guy that can definitely help in the run game is definitely a really good, refined interior pass rusher. And yeah, Jonathan Gannon is desperate for a little bit of pass rush help, whether it's from the outside or the interior. I think it's a win-win situation.
All right, the Cardinals get Marvin Harrison Jr. and Johnny Newton. Who are the Bills getting at 28?
I think this has to be honestly wide receiver. In my opinion, I think you kind of take your pick of the best guy. Um, and there's some standouts, man. I mean, Roman Wilson and Lad McConkey both ran 4.39s, both had elite testing, both really impressive at the combine. Troy Franklin with a 4.41. It's kind of pick your poison here, man. It's really pick your poison with receiver here. I think you're ultimately finessing, AFC, rival in the Chiefs with, picking whoever you think is going to be the best. Keon Coleman, I mean, a big guy. He didn't obviously doesn't have that blazing speed, but could be very exciting with a guy like Josh Allen. But oh man, I think I really want to go. I think I'm between Troy Franklin and Lad McConkey. Ugh, Lad McConkey is just really impressed through this entire draft process. Just one of the more refined route runners, better speed than what I would have guessed for him with a 4.39. That's pretty elite. Oh gosh, what are you thinking for favorite wide receiver left? I mean, it's kind of they're all very close.
Yeah, this one's hard because I mean the situation with Josh Allen, you can be confident he's going to elevate all of them. Troy Franklin's definitely the best deep threat if you wanted to go that route, and Lad McConkey's definitely the best intermediate player. The best slot, the best. He'd have like that Khalil Shakir connection with Josh Allen. So I guess it depends on what you value more. You're going to be losing Gabe Davis, who was that deep threat. So maybe Troy Franklin could fill in there, and maybe eventually if he hits his upside and becomes a better route runner, could be even a Diggs type of player. So I think Franklin might make the most sense, but if you wanted a dominant slot, I don't blame you.
I think I'm going to 100% agree with you. What Troy Franklin did with Bo Nix, who I don't think is the most incredible, deep ball. I think he's very good on timing, but Troy Franklin blazing down the sideline with Josh Allen being able to throw it 70 plus yards, man. I think I like that fit too much. I think I do value him as my next best receiver on the board here. And yeah, the fit will just be just perfect. And, they got to start rebuilding their wide receiver room ASAP. The Bills, I don't think they can really, I mean, they can obviously go another position. It depends what they address in free agency, but this would be a home run pick.
Absolutely electric fit with Josh Allen. I love Troy as a deep threat, and it would be a lot of touchdowns in Buffalo with that connection. So with that, we'll move on to the Lions at 29. And this is a hard one for me. There's a few options. I really like Graham Barton for the Lions. I really like Kool-Aid. Jared Verse would be good. I don't see him falling this far too often. There's definitely, some really good options. Even receiver, I could see being a long shot option for the Lions. I think this is really tough. They needed a guard bad. I think Graham Barton could be a plug and play star guard for them. But with the way that the board's fallen, if you can get Jared Verse opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, I think that's too hard to pass up. I just think Jared Verse is a high floor and he's just gonna have a good impact. And it feels like a Dan Campbell type of player. Do you disagree with this?
I think that is damn near perfect. I mean, given the situation, I think, if you're really narrowed down to, picking positional need, I think you can always, wow, we need this, we need this position. But I think in the Lions situation, they can attack free agency. They have a good amount of money. I think they can, really focus secondary in the second, third, fourth round, maybe sign a cheaper veteran option in free agency. But pairing a guy like Jared Verse on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson is just too awesome. And another guy who tested off the charts, man. I mean, Jared Verse ran a 4.58, a 35-inch vertical and a 10.7 broad jump, a 7.31 three cone drill, 4.44 20-yard shuttle, 31 bench. I mean, he checked every single box. The athleticism is there, and you get another guy to bookend opposite of Aiden Hutchinson to get after the pass rusher. That's I'm not going to argue with that at all. And I mean, positional value at pick 29, and just where we have this guy ranked in general, him being here at 29 is a no brainer pick.
Feels like he doesn't belong here, so you pair him with Dan Campbell, and he's going to be great in that system. But do you want to go on to the Ravens at 30?
Yeah, this is another tough pick. Oh, Kool-Aid McKinstry being here. The Ravens are known just to get incredible value with players. And I think I'm actually going to go that route. I think I am going to go Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think fitting him into that Baltimore Ravens defense, I think he slides in there as a day one starter. And ultimately, is a successor to Marlon Humphrey. And what do the Ravens do? They take the best player, period. And I think Kool-Aid McKinstry is my number one player still on the board. I really wish he would have tested just to get the measurables and the relative athletic scores. But yeah, I mean, a guy that was just, it fits his name. He was just cool. He was always cool in coverage. He never panicked. He's very good. I think he's a very, very, very good zone and man coverage guy. And just somebody who at worst is a CB2 in the NFL. And I feel like one of the safer picks, another guy with prospect fatigue. He was corner one for a lot of people for a long time. I feel like people have just kind of, gotten bored of him.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of a running joke in draft Twitter or whatever that the Ravens are going to take a Bama player and especially a secondary player. The Ravens love their Bama corners, so love that fit. I mean Kool-Aid falling to the Ravens, it's just a Ravens pick. They pick best player available, and he would just exceed in that system and in that situation. I would love that opposite of Marlon Humphrey. You got two Bama boys that could be dominant. So with that, I'll move on to my pick with the Niners at 31, and I love locking this one in. I think Tyler Guyton would be great because he has so much upside as a right tackle. But I'm just going to lock in Graham Barton, my number 3 interior offensive lineman right now. I think he could start at right tackle for you. I think he could start at center, guard, anywhere for the Niners and just be really good in that Shanahan scheme. He's such a good mover, such a good zone blocker. I love this fit. It's one of my favorite in the draft, and I don't need to talk about it too much. I hope it happens.
Yeah, perfect fit. And this scenario, I really want to let's move on to the Chiefs. Graham Barton, no brainer, 49er. He plugs and plays. But right here, man, let's go to wide receiver. Let's give the guy who just broke the combine record for the fastest 40-yard dash, Xavier Worthy. The Chiefs just moved off of MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Kadarius Toney's going to be gone. They need to reset this wide receiver room. Obviously, Rashee Rice is a cornerstone, but you go get a guy like Xavier Worthy, who's going to be just a true downfield burner and elite production with a guy like Quinn Ewers. Again, that's just I value these wide receivers so much more after seeing their quarterback play. You go from Quinn Ewers to Patrick Mahomes. Oh, it's gonna be a beautiful fit. Patrick Mahomes is gonna elevate this guy's floor. I think we gotta show the guy some love who just ran a 4.21. just blazing speed, and you pair him with, the best quarterback in the NFL.
It's unfair. Post combine mock draft, we have to have the guy that stole the show at the combine. He broke the record. Just so fast. You see that viral Wyoming clip. I'll put it on here if it doesn't get copyrighted, where he just runs past the entire Wyoming defense. He just catches the screen and just runs straight because you can't catch the guy with Mahomes. It would be nasty. I think he would come down with a lot of the deep balls that Mahomes would throw to him. And he's just such a good gadget player. He really exceeds as a gadget guy in the screens and the sweeps. It's just too scary. I don't even want to talk about this because I don't want to put this out there and speak it into existence because Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs is electric. And if that happened in like the second round, I would just end the league.
Yeah, just ridiculous. Leave it up to the Chiefs to, do something like that. The famous corn dog route, no one's going to guard him on that because he's going to blow the doors off of the corner or the linebacker, whoever's matched up on him. But pretty fun mock draft, Dan. Mock draft Mondays till the draft of one of our favorite exercises. If you're a mock draft fiend like we are, please like and subscribe because we will be doing these every single week. And this is a post combine mock draft. So, adding some guys with a little extra hype and buzz behind their names in this one. I think we cooked something. I'm going to say this every week. I think we cooked.
We cooked, and you have to do your Panthers pick at 33 for an exit hot take. You don't have AD Mitchell to lock in anymore. So who's it going to be?
Give me Lad McConkey. Give me the white guy to pair with Adam Thielen. Give me two elite white wide receivers, and when we're cooking over there in Carolina with David Tepper.
I like it. I like it. You can't argue with it. Bryce Young and Lad McConkey would break the league, but no, really fun mock. I love all these fits. It feels really realistic. You got a lot of risers that blew up the combine. A lot of freaks like Chop Robinson and Xavier Worthy finding his way into the first round. So really fun mock. Tune into the NFL Seekers podcast for all draft offseason content. The free agency's coming right around the corner. We'll be here for all the free agency content. We'll be predicting where people end up. We'll be talking about when people sign. It's going to be fun times. So anything else you want to say?
No, till next episode. Tune in. More draft and free agency content coming this week. So make sure you stay tuned. You turn on your notifications and be ready to watch us talk about more NFL draft content.
All right. Thanks for tuning in for another mock draft. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Peace.